Welcome to the Sexual Wellness Podcast, real-life conversations with industry experts on modern sexuality and how to live a happy, healthy, turned-on life. I'm your host, Laura Allen, founder of New Zealand's leading sexual wellness store and holistic sex, love, and life coach, passionately guiding women to expand their pleasure in and outside the bedroom. Welcome back to the Sexual Wellness Podcast. I'm shy because I'm here with my girlfriends. I have like stage fright. I normally record this when I'm alone in my little studio, aka bedroom. So one thing that I wanted to mention before we dive into this episode is my Pillow Talk event. If you are based in Auckland or anywhere surrounding Auckland and you want to meet some like-minded women, you want to learn about how to live a turned-on life, you want to maximize your pleasure not only in the bedroom but outside the bedroom and just have a really freaking good time, then go to my website, www.laura-allen.com/events and check out Pillow Talk, and it will be, it'll be there and you can figure out which one you want to come to and just get involved because it's going to be a vibe. It's going to be an absolute vibe. So I am coming to you today with two of my best friends. Like, honestly, it's just, okay, let me just like set the scene for you guys. We're in my girlfriend Tara's tiny house and it is heaven here. Like, it is on every time I come to this property and to this beautiful space, my whole body just goes, and like, it's just such a pleasure experience being in here. And so we've set the space up beautifully. We've got candles. We've got a beautiful chai maca tea. We're all like huddled around the microphone. We've got the lighting on. It's epic. So thank you ladies for being here. And yeah, I'm just stoked. Today we're going to be talking about self-love. I really just wanted to get my friends together to just have some real talk about self-love, what we've learned about self-love, the ups, the downs, the bullshit about self-love, the annoying things that happen when you're practicing self-love, just like all of it, real talk. And we're going to freestyle this episode and see where it goes. And I think to sort of kick it off, I want to talk about self-love and friendships and how once you sort of start to develop this relationship with yourself internally, how that changes your external world. Because I know that I've met you guys and, I know that I've met you guys. Oh gosh. Yeah. And since I've met you guys, it's like I've noticed that the relationships that I've started calling into my life have been totally at a level reflecting to me how I feel internally. I just messed that whole thing up. That was like word butchery, but do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Yes, essence is there.
Yeah, okay, great. So yeah, come on ladies, get in there.
Okay. Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, have an intro. Okay, so this is Tara Spice.
Hi everyone. I've only known you for, it's been 2 years now. Yeah, but it feels like friends forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
And ever.
It feels really, really good and juicy. And I totally resonate with what you just said. With you women, like I just feel so much stronger. I feel so much more me. And I feel like I could do anything. Yeah. So a bit about me. I am a yoga teacher. Been teaching for 2 years. And I also have my own graphic design business and marketing. Yeah, so I get that beautiful balance of like creativity and business and boss woman, and then also like this beautiful embodiment and teaching and leading. Yeah.
Yeah. Epic. And Rachel?
My name is Rachel Garbury. I run an organic whole foods business with my partner, and I also teach yoga and meditation. And yeah, love to work in the garden and get all planty and yummy with nature when I'm not doing work stuff. And yeah, I guess same. I've known you for about 2 years, or just over, because I met you when I moved to the Mount.
It'd be more than that now. I think it would be nearly like 3 years.
Yeah. And it was so serendipitous. We just came into each other's life at this moment, this crossroads where you were coming out of this process of internalization. You were coming back out into the world, and I was coming from the world going into that process. And I remember when we did meet, I was so inspired by who you were and the life you were coming out of in Amsterdam and moving back here. And I was very much kind of going into that process. And along the way, there's been a lot of like ebbing and flowing, but also meeting each other a lot. And this constant support and inspiration and accountability to, calling in and creating the life that we want for ourselves.
Yeah, totally. And so to give a bit of context, so I was living in Amsterdam, and I guess you could say my whole like quote unquote self-love journey started when I was living over there now about 5 years ago. And I say it like that because I literally had to stop everything that I was doing in my life and go, okay, I need to figure out what this whole self-love thing is all about, because I did not have it. I was not embodying it in any way, shape or form. Like, it's not like I had a bad life, but I was running such a horrible dialogue in my head about who I was and what I was doing. And I was sabotaging myself in love, sabotaging my life in sexuality, sabotaging my finances, just like had no control over my life or my awareness. And so I literally, when it came to going, okay, I need to figure out what self-love was, it did require me to go into that internal space, right? And like what that looked like for me was, admittedly, it was quite isolating. And I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that this is how it has to be done. It's just kind of a part of my personal journey. But like I needed to like create a lot of space for myself. I needed to get rid of a lot of the external noise because I had a lot of friends, a lot of parties, a lot of business, a lot of like riding my bike around Amsterdam, a lot of like things to do all the time. And I needed to get super, 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 super quiet to start listening to that intuition, start listening to like the truth of what was going on for me, and not listening to all of that mind chatter, that mean mind chatter, that keeps you small in fear and like, you're a piece of shit, basically. So I'd love to know, Rach, because we did meet at that crossroads, what did coming into self-love look like for you? Because it's such a beautiful unfolding and unique to everybody.
Well, at that time, I was in a new relationship energy, and I remember being very aware from the start that I didn't want, and it was such a beautiful beginning of a relationship for me, this romantic partnership. But I remember being really aware that I didn't want to fall into codependency, and I didn't want to rely on my partner to make me feel good about myself, to make me happy, to make sure I had a good time. And I was just, very early in the relationship, I left for a couple months to spend quite isolated 2 months house sitting. And it was so lush just getting to wake up with that spaciousness to take care of myself, and the spaciousness in my life to listen to that intuition. What feels good for me? How do I want to go about my day? What kinds of things do I want to be doing? How am I going to fill my own cup today? Because I'm actually here alone. That was significant for me at that time, because in the past, especially in, a new relationship energy, it's so easy to just be so enveloped by that abundance of love that someone is giving you that you just forget to be filling yourself up, because there's just all this yumminess coming at you all the time. And I reckon, there's you hear a lot of people say, oh, you need to do the work on yourself before you can find a partner. But it's in relationship that we get to learn how to continuously do this work for ourselves. And, that was 3 years ago. I'm still in that relationship, and it's still a constant it's still a constant awareness of how am I taking care of myself? Am I nurturing my own needs in terms of pleasure, in terms of space, in terms of food, in terms of fun, in terms of laughing? And yeah, that's where I'll start it with that.
I love that. I love how that you've got the relationship aspect in there, because it's like, it's beautiful because you want to surrender and be able to receive all the love that you're getting from your partner, and then also make sure that you are still maintaining that self-sovereignty and, that connection to yourself and your own love and essence and pleasure, like you were saying, because I think that that's when like codependency can start to creep in without you even knowing it, because we just lose touch of our own magnificence in that. Yeah. So Tara, I'd love to know your story, because it's a bit different, isn't it?
It's so different.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you speak about relationship, because I've been in a relationship for as long as I can remember, pretty much. I'm currently married, and I've been married for the past 7 years to the man that I met when I was only 14 years old, and he was only 16. So we're completely different people then. And self-love only very recently kind of occurred to me as something, as a tool or a practice that I needed in my life. And I really attribute that to being in relationship this whole time. Like you say, Rachel, like I've always had that love coming from someone else. And I've always had his affirmation that I am beautiful, that I'm an amazing woman. And all of those affirmations have made me really confident throughout my entire life. I mean, sure, it's like also come from within, but a lot of it has also been this reflection from my partner at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always had that confidence, and even body confidence. And I feel like that's coming like from a man being like, oh, you're so sexy. And, you know, I'd hate to say that I need that external affirmation, but it's definitely, I think, really attributed to it. Yeah. And then it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago when we started practicing open relating more through our relationship that I went more of into my own journey, into my own self-awareness.
Tell us about that. And like, what was it about opening the relationship that forced you to go deeper within your connection to yourself?
I think it was, we've always been very non-dependent and had a lot of autonomy in who we are, having our own friends, doing our own passions, and always really supported each other in those things. And it was a time where I was really looking at myself and started to more so follow those things that I desire. And through that, one of them being yoga mainly, through that, I was spending a lot more time by myself. Yeah. So a lot more time with my thoughts, a lot more time with my body. And really, I think that's a key thing that you guys speak to, being alone, and also just slowing down, switching out of this routine, out of the habits that was life, and starting to tune in and listen to what was real for me. Yeah.
Okay, so if we were going to define self-love, what would how would you define self-love?
Well, I like that you use the word sovereignty, because it is an act of living in your power. But I also see it as a responsibility in terms of what is it? Like, what's the essence of it? It's the act of being like, yeah, I'm here and I'm human and I'm a part of the whole and I'm worthy of love. And I'm going to do that for myself, treating yourself like your best friend almost, or, but being responsible for yourself, showing up with love, because you want to give love to others from a full cup, or from just this overflow, this essence in you, and taking responsibility for making sure that's present in you.
Epic. I love how you've used that word responsibility, because it is self-love and self-care is, as individuals, our divine responsibility. And, you know, it's so easy to fall into a victim mindset and believe that these things are out of our control, that our life is not in our hands, we're powerless over it. And, you know, this is just the silver platter that we've been given, and, you know, what can we do about it? But actually, it is your responsibility, and you do have it within you to turn your state and your situation around.
You know what's so cool about the word responsibility as well?
What?
It's responsibility. And I only just learned this. So it's not like, it's not reactive, it's responsive. So you're responding to what is currently not based on some kind of past trauma or some kind of old habit, but what is now.
That is so epic.
Your ability to respond now to what you need to show up in your life with vitality, vibrancy, and yumminess.
Oh!
Okay, guys, you can see why these ladies are my friends, right? Seriously.
Nailed it.
I love it. I love this. It was so good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I think like we've all talked about having this period of isolation, which I think can feel really scary, especially when we, you know, don't want to, I guess. It's like that feels like I don't want to be alone. And, you know, a lot of people are scared of taking that step. But why is it important to take space for yourself to develop a deeper sense of self-love? I wonder. I mean, I know for me, it was about, I didn't have a strong sense of self, and I was very easily influenced by my external environment, and I had little to no boundaries, was very much a people pleaser, always overgiving, and just in constant anxiety, couldn't make decisions for myself, just had like no connection to my own, like had no foundation, you know, like to go from, and it felt messy all the time. And it put me in a state of constant anxiety. And so for me personally, creating that space where I could go get quiet and go within myself helped me, if you want to visualize it, like lay the foundation for my like self-love castle to be built upon. Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah. Well, when you're, like you said, when you constantly have the noise reflected back at you, whether that's people, your job, going out and about, just in the world, we're constantly being stimulated and having something reflected back to us on, you know, what we like or what's good, what we do, where we go. We kind of, we really do mold to our environment. So to strip that away, then you get to come back to that essence of yourself. And it doesn't need to be like going into isolation for 6 months. It's just carving out that space to be with yourself and your own energy a little bit each day or a little bit each week. It's in that quiet that your essence emerges, and then your ability to respond to that essence can be cultivated. But if you don't have a connection with it, then you could just be feeding it the wrong food.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes finding that essence to then have the power in that essence of who you are to be able to show up in front of others and communicate your boundaries and start saying no. But first of all, you need to define who you are and what you believe in to say no to the things that you no longer believe in or are no longer serving you.
Yeah, totally.
Critical process there.
And this is why it can be so transformational. And I think a lot of times, you know, we live our lives in ways that we think we should be living. And then all of a sudden we do create that space, we get quiet and we tune into what our core values really deeply are. And it's not a thought experience, is it? It's like a deep knowing that comes from within your body. And when you do create that space or silence or meditation, whatever that might look like for you, it just comes. It just comes, and the path and the solution is clear. and you know with every cell in your body. And I remember, like, this is another thing about self-love and the whole transformational aspect of it. There was, for me, challenges because my whole life was changing, right? I discovered that some of the values that I thought I had, I didn't have, and how I wanted to live my life now totally didn't resonate with who I used to be. And so my relationships were changing, and how I spent my time was completely different. I didn't relate to my old friends in the same way anymore. Not to say that I am not still friends with them. I still love them deeply and we are still friends. But it was a lonely period, I'm not going to lie, because I was like, okay, that totally doesn't resonate with me anymore. I'm now connecting to my like body, and I know that it wants me to eat this style of food. I know that my body doesn't want me to be like drinking alcohol every night of the week. I know that my body doesn't want like that penis inside me anymore. And you just know so deeply, and you don't even have to articulate it in words. It's just this like inner knowing. And because you know it so deeply and you can't unknow what you know, you know? And that's the annoying thing. That's the most annoying thing about self-love, because it's like you fucking know. And then it's like, and then you have to take it that one step further and take the responsibility and like turn it into action.
And coming back to what you said in the beginning and what you just said there about it being kind of scary, because you're almost shedding the skin of who you were, who you thought you were, and you're stepping into who you are based on that essence, not in the thinking mind of who am I, but in the feeling capacity, in the spiritual capacity. And when you step into that way of being, you inevitably are going to attract people who are also living that way. So hence, once you kind of start living this self-love, you know, once it becomes part of your everyday, part of your way of being in the world, then all of a sudden the people around you, you realize that they're doing the same, not the same way that you're doing it. They're doing it in their way. But you start connecting because on a foundational level, you both know. And you can't unknow what you know. Now it's like, okay, we know. But not that it's even like a getting to a knowing, but it's, I think when you enter that vibration in yourself, inevitably, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah. Totally.
And as your vibe changes, which is totally fine because we're always changing, your tribe is going to change too. You're going to meet the people who need to teach you what you need to learn to help support you into that next phase of becoming, whatever that is.
Yeah, epic. Totally. And I can resonate with that even now in my life. It's like I have you beautiful women as my friends as well, but as I evolve more in my business, I am attracting more, I guess, like entrepreneurial, like just, you know what I'm getting at here. It's like you definitely start to call in people who can like help you reach that vision that you're striving towards. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to come down here and be like, soz, bitches, like I got me some like new Auckland city friends and like I ain't going to hang out with you no more. It's just like, it's like a constant evolving and checking with what you need and then like stepping into that, which is the action part.
And when I'm living from that place of self-love and living my own truth, there's so much freedom in that. I just feel so free right now in my life. And almost like every day I'm like, have I created this? Is this real? You mean I can really just work like 3 days this week and then like 4 the next? And then, you know, it's just like I have so much freedom and autonomy. And so there's still this little part of me which is like, do you deserve this? Shouldn't you be like employed or like, you know, do you really deserve it? And I think no, like this is part of this journey. It's like we are creating our realities and we are living that, and it is so freeing. And, you know, I just had someone today, like someone that I barely know, but he's working in the same office as me, and he said, you just seem so free. And I was like, well, that's the reality of this path to freedom. And pleasure.
And pleasure, It is though, like living, like, amen. It's like when you are living a life where you're deeply rooted in self-love, your whole life is just this like expression of pleasure and the things that turn you on and light you up and make you feel good. And that's not just in the bedroom. That is in your career, how you work, who you work with. It's in your home, in your environment, and the car that you drive and the clothes that you wear. Yeah. And like, I will put those material things in there as well. It's like self-love is like definitely an inner thing, but I also believe that it manifests externally and you present externally how you feel internally. I believe.
Yeah.
I guess that's just something that I'm going through recently.
Get a new car.
I just made that. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a Beamer soon. I'm gonna drive a Mercedes around Auckland City. Not joking. Yeah, and just like love wearing beautiful clothes and putting on red lipstick and like putting makeup on. And I used to feel like, oh, I don't need to wear makeup. I'm beautiful enough as it is. And I know that I am. Totally. I don't need to wear makeup. I love who I am without makeup. But at the same time, there's just something that makes me feel freaking good when I put some lipstick on and some mascara on and I like wear my favorite dress, even if I'm just working from home for the day. You know, I'm just like, I'm going to put like my favorite lingerie on. I'm going to put lipstick on. I'm going to get dressed up for this day for myself because it lifts my vibration in a way. I don't know.
So that's one of your ways that you practice self-love?
Yeah. Yeah, it is one of the ways that I practice self-love. Oh, that's a good thing to go in. So what are some other ways that we practice self-love in the day-to-day?
Walking up Mount Maunganui is a big one for me. Yeah. Cranking some tunes on my headphones and just powering up that mountain, getting to the top and just taking time to sit there. I think for me, that's like the crux of my medicine. Yeah. The breeze, the music, and like often singing as well and skipping. It's just amazing. I think like, yeah, when I move, how much I process, how much travels through the body. Yeah. That's so important. And I really notice when I don't do it as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that. I really movement.
Yeah.
I go to the beach every morning with Sid. Yeah, really.
Ritual.
And yeah, it's the ritual. And like when I'm staying at my partner's house, sometimes I'll be lying in bed at 10 o'clock. I'm like, I want to go home because I want to sleep next to you, but I want to go home because I really want to walk on the beach in the morning. Will you come with me to my house?
Yeah. Will you fit into my schedule?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you walked with him in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's to be honest, it's something that I like to do by myself. It's the way that I start the day to prime myself to come into my own energy. Like we were saying, you know, it's like for me personally, I do need that time of solitude so that I can ground into my own energy so that I can go out into the world from that grounded place. Because if I don't do that in the morning, you know, that's when I notice that foundation isn't there and I can get really easily influenced and swayed and reactive and just throws me off, honestly.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm that morning time. For me, it's just spaciousness in the morning. Getting up early, which then no longer feels like, oh, I'm getting up early. It feels like I can't wait to wake up an hour before anyone else is awake because I can just do whatever I want in the house in my own energy without any interaction, any needing to show up for anyone because in my work, I show up for people all the time. Yeah, that morning time, which is, there's a few little self-love things that are, I'm quite meticulous. I'm quite kind of a pedantic person. So I like do this exact same thing right away. I'm like, tongue scrape, neti pot, warm lemon water, meditate. And then it's like, okay, what's next? And then I can kind of tap into what do I have time for? Maybe some writing, maybe some movement, maybe some yoga. But yeah, that is like the anchor. That's like the, okay, oh, good morning, Rachel. I love you, so I'm going to take care of you for this next hour, and then we can go out into the world and do what we need to do.
I love that. I love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
And it's like even it can be found, self-love can be found in the simplest things, like getting up every morning and having a lemon water.
Yeah.
The most
Love that.
simple act of self-love, like showing up for yourself consistently in that way just proves to yourself that you're willing to do what's right for you every day. You're showing up for yourself just by having a simple glass of hot lemon water in the morning. And you'd be surprised at how that simple act can start to build your self-love muscles.
Totally.
And over time, your brain becomes rewired to go, no, I can do the things that are right for me. I can eat a diet that is healthy and vital and going to, keep me happy. I can, change my life if I want to, because I've been having this lemon water every morning,
Well, it is that sense of integrity for what's right for me. And then I guess it shows up later then throughout the day and just in life in general, day becomes your life. Not in doing things, but, saying yes to yourself then turns into being able to say no to the things you don't want. And being able to say no to the social gathering that's going on, even though it's like, cool, but not feeling that. And to not feel guilty about it. I think that was a big thing for me that came from spending that time alone and strengthening that muscle, was like dropping the guilt around feeling like I need to show up for everything. Like, okay, do I genuinely want to show up for that? And if the answer is no, and some people might say it's flaky, but if it's integrity to like your truth in that moment, then no one would really want you to come anyway if you're just like half there so the ability to set clear boundaries for yourself and then be able to also say no. You say yes to yourself. You can also say no in the world.
Yeah.
I love it when you say no.
Yeah.
I'm like, Rachel's looking after herself tonight. That's why she's not here.
You're so good at honoring me when I do that. Because there's definitely is like a, oh no, I'm flaking again.
Yoga on Friday.
Yoga on Friday. But I just couldn't, I was like, this actually isn't what I need right now, even though I would love to like be in your class. But it's like, I need to go do something else. And then knowing that your friends are going to honor that in you and not be like, damn, I haven't, like, fine.
And that's
do your thing.
I was like, I love this. I love that you're not coming to the class. It's absolutely fine.
It's a good
You don't even need to tell me.
It's epic. And this is the thing. This is why it's so beautiful. It's like when you start vibrating at this level and start acting in integrity with your own self-love, you start to attract people that are going to support you fully in doing what's right for you. And they'll always have your back. And that is such a beautiful practice. Like, if you're someone who struggles to say no and set those boundaries, you can literally call a friend and say, it's like called the boundaries and belonging exercise, because for some of us, like saying no has meant that we get kicked out of the belonging club, right? And like that's what kind of makes us feel scared to do that. But by practicing with a friend, okay, Tara, we're going to do it. So what I need you to do is ask me some kind of outrageous question, and I'm going to say no to it. And then in return, you're going to say, thank you for looking after yourself. So ask me something that you want to do.
Can I pick your nose?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay. So clearly, well, it is you. Then I would,
can I pick your nose?
Yeah, I'm like, maybe that could be a sexual experience because Tara's doing it, so maybe that would be nice. But okay, so that's, you can tell how that exercise felt really easy because it's like, well, no, Tara, I don't want you to pick my nose. But the simple like act of doing it and then observing how it feels in your body to say no. Did you feel any resistance? Did you feel any guilt? And just like feeling that, writing it down, and then keep practicing that no. And then you can over time ask your friend to start asking questions that might be a little bit more tempting to say yes to. And it's just a game. So, it's an exercise and a practice to help you understand that you can say no and still be loved. You can say no and be heard and respected and supported by, laying that line in the sand.
It's also an awesome, really exercise for the person receiving the no.
Totally.
Because I can do those self-reflections also. How did that feel to have someone say no to me? What's coming up for me?
Yeah.
Is it something personal? Is something wrong with me? What did I do? What did I say? All those things.
So, yeah. All of that. You guys can swap. You can just like, honestly, it's a good game. It's a real good game. Are there any other practices that you did in the beginning when you were like really starting to hone into this whole self-love thing? Were there certain tools or rituals that you did to help you strengthen that self-love muscle?
I never religiously had like a set time of the day where I would do a certain thing. Like, I so admire that about you, Rach, how you've got your lemon water ritual and then you go into your meditation. Like, I think that's really beautiful. But for me, I feel like my days are always quite sporadic. But one thing that I always would do, coming back to this, is the movement. Yeah. And that's developed throughout the years. Now, for me, movement might just be rolling around on the floor.
Yeah.
I do that quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And often also a lot of like more sounding now, making a lot of like kind of breath is something at the moment that's resonating for me. So really a practice for me is just, taking that time to move.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love how you say movement, not exercise as well.
Yeah. Exercise can make it sound kind of like something combat-like.
Yeah, going to the gym and kind of a punishment on your body because you need to change what you look like. Like, exercise is really marketed at us to like change our bodies, sort of stuff. Whereas movement feels, when we say movement, like, how do you feel in your body when you hear the word movement?
I feel so free because it can look however I want it to look at the moment.
So free. And just like my belly just went like, when you say exercise, I'm like, I do like to exercise, but it can feel a little bit like, oh, I've got to go to the gym because I had a beer last night, you know? Yeah. What about you, Rach? Any other like solid?
You know, it is quite, I guess it is cliched, but that morning ritual, which, you know, I feel like comes up a lot in the self-care or self-love and self-care world, but sometimes that not being the same thing and sometimes not even being maybe in the morning. So yeah, if life gets a little crazy sometimes and it's in the afternoon. But I reckon for me, at some stage, every single day, I need to be with myself without noise. So no music, no stimulation, no technology. It's not even necessarily a meditation. It's just like turning off the noise of the world to just feel into, what do I really need right now? How can I nurture myself right now? How can I soothe myself right now? So just solitude, you know, it's like, it really is that simple for me. And especially in relationship, when I live with my partner, I work with my partner, we spend heaps of time together, and I can get really swept up in the wave of our energy as a partnership. And I need that time to root into, what do I need? Am I taking good enough care of myself? Am I asking too much of the people around me? Am I asking too much of my partner? It's only in the quiet that I can hear what my body and what my heart needs. So that's like the foundation for whatever it is.
Yeah. Silence speaks louder than words.
Yeah.
So much coming up for me right now. I think the first thing was just like understanding that self-love and your needs change and develop all the time, because I spend a lot of time personally in isolation. I'm really, really good at it. You guys know that. And it's actually a part of my self-love practice at the moment to go out and to be social. Like, that is actually something that I actively, consciously need to make a part of my practice, just like my meditation, just like my movement. Like, going out and being social with my friends is a part of my self-love, because I just I love being alone, and I just like, and I'm into it, but it like connection with other people is, you know, super, super important. And so, just like knowing that your needs change and evolve as you go through the journey, and just like having the capacity to check in and tune in and go, okay, so what am I needing now? And there was something else that I wanted to say, because we talked about self-care there a little bit, and I feel like the self-care industry is kind of like becoming a little bit, what do I want to say? Like face masks and a bit like materialistic and bubble baths. And it is all that stuff, you know, like, self-care is great, but I believe that self-love is understanding that you are fully worthy of having all of those things and giving yourself the space to enjoy the self-care that you're giving to yourself, you know?
Yeah, and the self-love, I guess, varying from the care, also comes with that, like, radical acceptance piece that, what we need is always changing. We're always changing, and accepting the new parts of ourselves that are coming out and the old parts that are dying, or accepting the parts that we don't even like that much.
Yeah.
But trying to also love them. Yeah, and... yeah, it has like a weight around it that is hard to express. Love, because love is such a deep, vast emotion. It's like, can you really love all of yourself? What does that look like today? Is it going out? Is it socializing? Is it crawling into a hole? Is it phoning your mother? Is it, you know, what is it? Can you love whatever it is you need right now without judgment on yourself?
Yeah, I love how you've brought that up, because, there's a great saying that I used to put out on Instagram. It's like, self-love is loving yourself even when you say awkward things at parties. Because it's like, you know, we all make mistakes, and like we've all got parts of ourselves that, you know, we don't like, or we hide, or our shadow side, you know, the dark things. And self-love is about shining a light on those dark corners and illuminating them and loving and accepting them for what they are right now. And then, from that space, you can move into transformation if you want to. I mean, like, I think as we grow and as we like, you know, as we're growing into adults and we come through new challenges, and you're just growing in life, you know, it's like you kind of may realize, you might wake up one day and go, oh my God, I can't believe I was operating like that. Or I can't believe I've been so ... this whole time, you know, like how could I have done that, you know, over our past experiences? Or it could be as simple as like eating cake, or, you know, being irresponsible with money, or like stuff like that. And so there's a piece of acceptance and love for yourself, and then there's also holding yourself accountable, because it's like, yeah, sure, I love myself, warts and all, but that doesn't mean that it's okay to continue making mistakes when you know deep down what is actually going to be right for you. So it's like a fine balance, you know, of like love and acceptance, and then also owning up and doing the work. And change, and making the change that you know you need to. Yeah, because we definitely live in a time of, you know, especially within the self-love world, we live in a time of always trying to be developing ourselves, or like we're always trying to be the better version of ourselves, or, you know, trying to step into that or up level this kind of, you know, it's just a narrative that we carry because we know in our hearts who we really are and what we're capable of, and we want to show up in the world as that person all the time. But then we get triggered, and then, you know, we have a reaction, and it is that balance of being like, okay, having that awareness, today I reacted, I was a bit of a dick. Okay, it's okay, I'm not going to berate myself forever, but next time this comes up and I get triggered again by the same thing, how am I going to change my response? And how am I going to, you know, now respond to the aftermath of the reaction? And has it affected people around me? Rather than just like, oh my God, I was terrible, I can't look at that person again, I'm like leaving this place, no one can see me again. It's like, yeah, I kind of mucked up. That's the ownership.
but it's okay, and I'm going to get better.
Beautifully put, babe. Love that.
Yeah.
Just doing our best.
Just doing our best. Yeah, that's it. It's just doing your best. And also it's like, I love that constant up-leveling that you're referring to when it comes to personal development, because it's just like, this year I've been like a spiritual rebellion. I'm like, I'm not going to another workshop. I'm done with all of this shit. Like, I am healed, and like, get away from me with your like fucking 30-day self-love challenge. Like, no. Lol, just as I think about putting one out myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I think healing happens when you realize that you're already whole. Like, you know, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Where you are right now, like, start where you are, not where you think you should be.
You got this.
You got this. Like, we don't, just like, it's about taking responsibility for yourself, owning up for the things that you do that, you know, we kind of like step astray, and like making the conscious decision to do it differently next time. But then also just like, you know, you're good.
Yeah. Still having fun and not taking it all too seriously.
Have a good time. Honestly.
We can get so serious.
So serious. Yeah, honestly, play. So important. Just laugh at it, because it's
funny. It's funny. Laugh at yourself. I was talking to Rach earlier, actually, like, I've just read so many self-help books and non-fiction books, like, in the past 2 years, like, a lot.
Yeah.
I read a lot. That me and my husband, we were just like, we've had enough. Like, we need a fiction novel. Like, just a good old fiction novel. So we've been, like, doing this beautiful exercise of reading to each other this book out loud, and it's just so healing.
That sounds like heaven.
That's my self-love right now.
I'm into it. Honey. I'm also, like, I have a Calvin and Hobbes comic book next to my bed, which I'm reading. It's just, like, adult comics. So good.
Yeah.
I watch Mad Men at the moment. I'm on Netflix.
I love Netflix. Netflix is definitely part of my self-love. I just want to add that in with, you know, with all the other good stuff.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Just like
balance.
Taking it easy.
Yeah. Chilling the fuck out.
Yeah. Lol.
Yeah. I need to take that advice a lot of the time.
Yeah, just like a constant reminder, just be like, just laugh, just laugh and play. Because that's it. We're a speck on a speck in the universe. This life is short, and, you know, it's pretty cool here in this earth suit, and like, may as well enjoy it, you know, because it'll be over before we know it. So let's just have a good time while we're doing it. Why not? Like, why not, really?
Yeah.
You know?
You get one.
Why wouldn't you?
One life. In this body.
In this body.
Yeah.
I love this body.
This beautiful body.
Yeah.
I love my temple. Okay, so there's like one practice that I really want to share with the listeners that I started doing when I first started getting into self-love. And it was a small meditation. It was actually something, It was a my words.
You got this, babe.
Word butchery right now. It's a visualization tool that I would put onto the end of my meditations. And I had a self-love tree that I had from seed. And it was my job to grow this tree. So at the end of my meditation, and the first time that I did it, I had the seed in my hands, and I went out into nature, into the forest, and I cleared a space for it. I got rid of all of the weeds, and I planted it. And then every day at the end of my meditation, I would go back to my self-love tree, and I would look after it. I would water it. I would pull out any new weeds. I would like clear some of the trees or the vines around to make sure that they weren't blocking it from getting light, you know, and I would just go and sit there and be with it. Read a book next to it. And I would constantly check in to see how it was growing. And it was the most beautiful practice, because in the beginning it was small. It was a really small, little, flimsy, like, stick. a little flaccid, that my fingers like, if you
Wiggling
can only
like a worm.
see, it's like a little worm
Wormy.
finger flaccid tree. And now this tree is like huge. And it has an entire ecosystem in it. There's animals living in there. There's like a stag that hangs out around it. There's like butterflies. The most beautiful light comes in like from the canopy, and it's always warm there. And I don't go every day anymore, but I still go and check in with my self-love tree and just like read a book next to it and just hang out in that space. And that's been such a beautiful practice for me. Because in the beginning it was like I was starting from scratch, absolute zero, which was like really true and relevant to where I was at in my life. And just, watering that tree, being there and growing it every single day.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's a nice practice for anyone who feels inspired to try it. Well, this has just been an absolute treat. I love you guys so much, honestly.
Love you.
Love you.
Like deeply. Yeah, thank you.
So much love in this space right now.
Yeah,
I hope you guys can feel that with us.
Yeah. I think that's it. Let's just wrap it up. Thanks everyone for listening. Yeah. Oh, do you guys want to say anything about where people can find you if they want to come and meditate or do yoga with you or follow you on Instagram or...
I guess so.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
I can't even remember my handle. I think it's Rachel_Garbury.
Okay.
On Instagram. But yeah, I teach at the Light Room, which is a yoga studio in Mount Maunganui.
Yeah.
Or come find me at Vitality Organics if you just want to have a yarn.
Yeah.
The best place to hang out.
Like the best ever. If you're in Mount Maunganui, go to Vitality Organics. Definitely check out Rachel and her meditation. I mean, on both my sisters. Okay, sorry. Tara, you go. Yeah.
So my Instagram is Tara Spice Creative and my website is taraspice.com. And so that's for any design work. And then yoga, I teach at Mahana Yoga Loft in Papamoa here in the Bay of Plenty. Gorgeous studio. You're literally doing yoga, looking out to the trees and the ocean. Like one time my students saw whales. It's not a lie. It's divine. So yeah, get in touch.
Heaven. And I highly recommend like both of these women. I know, Rachel, you've got some meditations on Insight Timer as well that are like heaven.
Yeah, I do.
And just like if you're ever in the Bay, absolutely connect up with these epic women because I fully support everything that they're putting out in the world.
Thank you.
Okay, all those details will be in the show notes. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We're gonna eat some delicious food, do some movement, do all the things. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe or share it with someone who you feel could benefit from hearing it too. My mission is to bring healthy sexuality to the mainstream, so be sure to leave your 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app because that way this content can land in the ears of those who need it the most. If you're looking for more resources on how to live a turned-on life, check out my website at www.laura-allen.com, where you'll find events, coursework, free downloadable workbooks, as well as my coaching packages. And lastly, I want to thank you for taking the time to prioritize yourself in this exquisite way, because when we do, that's when we can really start to show up for the rest of the world. And until next time, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back with another episode soon.